Okay, so this show though, okay, last week's finale was crazy good and it was so shocking and I was like, we can't expect that out of every episode because that just doesn't usually happen in shows. But then this week's finale was even crazier than last week's finale. I mean, these finales they're throwing at us, it's like we're watching, not finale, ending, but it's like we're watching a finale. That's why I'm saying that. It's like we're watching a season finale or a mid-season finale because they're so freaking incredible. I'm sure none of you saw that coming with this week's ending. Oh my gosh. So let's go back to the beginning of the episode first. So Wes is trying to figure out this whole deal with his mom. And this is something we don't entirely have figured out yet, even after this episode, but I think it's going to be resolved in next week's episode. So basically, here's what's going on. So back in the past, his mother was a janitor for this high-powered company, high-profile company, but actually they're a very corrupt company. And the son of, the owner of this company, the son also worked there. He's accused of killing his fiance, but he had an alibi in Wes's mom, who is the janitor at the company, and she has this story that makes it so that he would not have been at the place to kill his fiance. She would totally be the person to get him off of this crime, So she's a very important factor in this trial. But one of the things that we have to consider here is that she is an illegal immigrant. So she wants to protect her identity. She's afraid that she'll get, deported. So she wants to protect herself in this process. And we'll just start from there. So there's a lot of other things going on. I mean, this is a very intense episode. So we have this issue with this video, this person trying to blackmail them, the Keating 5 and Annalise. This is all from video from the night where Annalise was shot. So they all think it's Philip. As you know, I don't think it's Philip. I think it's obvious that it's not Philip. I mean, I'm not entirely sure if he's not involved at all, but I'm starting to think that he's not involved at all. But now a new video has surfaced, and this time he's asking for money. He wants $1 million. He just gives them a certain amount of time, maybe a couple of days to do that, or he's going to take it to the police. Now, it's funny because Annalise kind of has a nonchalant way of looking at this, and she's just thinking that he's bluffing them and so on and so forth. So we need to deal with the Laurel Frank situation from last week. As I figured, she was totally freaked out by the situation. What drove me crazy is that we almost found out the reason why Frank had to kill Lila. Now, we think it's because Sam needed him to do, Sam, he owed Sam a favor, basically. But we don't really know all of the details, and he was getting ready to tell her, but the phone rang. So she leaves, and she doesn't know what to do with this situation. She doesn't want to be around Frank at all, which is understandable, and she kind of goes to Wes because she wants to confide in him. They've become really good friends, and she wants someone to make her feel better. And by confide in him, I'm not saying that she tells anything. She hasn't told anyone what's going on with Frank, as I suspected. I don't think she's that kind of person. I don't think she's going to rat on him, at least not yet. We'll have to see how all of that plays out. So all of the stuff that went down with Wes's mom happened in Ohio. And the problem we have here is that his mom, as I said, was the alibi for this guy accused of killing his fiance, and she was supposed to do her testimony on camera, hidden on camera but hidden at a different location. Well, she didn't show up, so that's a huge problem. So Laurel goes to when she's talking to Wes, she's like, we need to figure this out, because she's asking him questions like why he's going through this case file from something that happened 10 years ago in Ohio, and she's like, we should just go to Ohio and figure this out for ourselves. So they go to Ohio to try to figure all of this out. So Annalise has this idea to kind of set up Caleb because they need to possibly get some money if they're going to want to pay off this person who's blackmailing them. So they kind of set up this thing where they use Michaela as the pawn in all of this to see if he'll go pay a retainer to Annalise to represent him, like a retainer in cash. And then he goes to meet Catherine in jail. Now, this is the part that I would love your feedback about, because this left me quite confused. We had a big discussion about it in our live chat which we do every week at 6 p.m. Eastern on Fridays, the live How to Get Away with Murder chat. That info's down below, so if you haven't joined us yet, we'd love to see you there next week. It's really so much fun because there's so many different parts of the show that we can theorize on that we could literally talk for hours, you know? It's crazy. So Catherine makes some really strange statements in the jail cell to Caleb. Now, you can tell she's still not happy with him over how all of this went down. She says she's kind of taken up for Philip, and she said that he was able to love her in the way that a brother should. I don't know what that means. I mean, I thought we had already proved that her and Caleb had never hooked up, which I hope they didn't. I don't know. What do you guys take from that scene? Basically, she makes kind of like a statement, well, what if I killed my parents? Which I don't think she did, but we just don't, there's so many pieces of that story that we just don't know. And that scene I know was super important, and I want to know what your thoughts are to see if we can put these pieces together. Together we can put these pieces together. I also think there's some major stuff that happened between Sam and Bonnie. You can just see that in the flashbacks that we've been having the past couple of weeks, and we've always had this, you know, these little hints that there was something bigger going on there. Some people in the live chat thought perhaps maybe she had a baby by Sam. We all know he was a big dirtbag, so I don't know, but there's something definitely going on. And the other issue we need to discuss is Annalise's baby. She's still pregnant. What happens to it? Does she give it up for adoption? Does she have a miscarriage? She's very pregnant at this point. What are your thoughts on that? So, since Wes's mom didn't show up at the trial, Annalise goes to her apartment and she answers the door. And by talking to her, she kind of figures out that, guess what? She actually never saw that guy, the defendant, at the office that night. Basically, I think what happened is that they paid her to, you know, have this story that, that went along with his so that he could be set free. Like, she is the only person who could help him now because he, you know, I think we pretty much know he killed his fiance. And she was this key to him being set free, and now she didn't show up for her testimony, so it's not good. And Annalise is like, look, I don't know what these people are going to do to you because this is not a good situation. Basically saying they might kill her or something because she really needs to testify. Now, we learned that the defendant's father is like the worst person on the face of the earth. He's racist, he's sexist, he said terrible, terrible, terrible things to Annalise. Some people in the live chat had the idea that perhaps he is the father of Wes, actually, because you know how that goes. Some people who are super against something in real life are doing that behind closed doors. So if he's racist, he could totally have been having an affair with Wes's mom. Makes no sense, but that's the way some like bigots are, to be honest. So, what do you guys think about that? Do you think he could be the dad of the baby, or maybe his son is the dad, or maybe not? We just don't know who Wes's dad is, so I thought that was interesting. So, okay. The scene with Bonnie and Asher also is confusing to me because it's kind of clear to me that she does have strong feelings for him, but she basically told him she wants nothing to do with him. She can't help him if he ends up being in trouble for killing Sinclair. But then she goes inside of her apartment and she starts bawling. So obviously there's more to it, and what I take from that is that she actually does really care about him, but she knows she's a terrible person and she doesn't want to involve him like in all of her crazy drama. So, Connor wants to leave, and he suggests to Oliver that they should move away because, you know, it's scary that Philip knows where they live, and he might be a serial killer, and he might come kill them. And Oliver seems okay with it, sort of, but he doesn't want to go far. I don't see Connor leaving. I don't think anyone can escape Annalise. But while we're talking about Oliver, here's the thing. I really think that he may be involved in possibly blackmailing Annalise and company. Now, I know this sounds crazy because he's always been nice and innocent and perfect, but then again, that's who we always look toward when it's a good show, and that's the villain is someone we wouldn't suspect and someone who has, you know, no reason to look suspicious. So, what do you guys think about that? Do you think perhaps that he is, you know, somehow maybe when he met with Philip, they came together and came up with the plan? I have that idea. I also have the idea that Eggs 911 is involved in this, Levi, because they set him up for drug charges. Maybe he's out of jail by now. Maybe he's the one blackmailing them. Those are kind of my thoughts. And some people in the live chat thought that Nate was behind the blackmailing. So what do you think? Now you're going to say, well, Nate was in the video with Annalise. So the third video they received, they find out that someone has been spying on them and stalking on them. Someone was outside the window when Annalise had Nate over for dinner because they decide not to pay that money to this person, and they get the third video of her and him together. So this person is crazy and stalking them. But it's obviously going to be someone we know. I think it just being Philip alone is way too easy, so I want to know what you guys think below. So another big moment that we need to talk about was that Wes and Laurel kiss. Now for me, it came totally caught me off guard, out of the blue. I never thought that they were two people who were going to hook up. I was never getting those vibes. In my mind, I think they're just really good friends who were confused about their relationship, and they decided to test it out, but to see if they could take it further. But when they did, it felt kind of weird to them. When I was looking on Twitter, when it was airing live, a lot of people said that they thought it was coming. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Do you ship those two together, or do you think it was just a confused friendship move? In my opinion, it's not going to turn into a couple, but that's just what I think. So, you know, we've had so much crazy stuff, and this brings us to our ending because, oh my gosh, we've had all this craziness happen, which would just be, you know, even good shows would only have like one of these things happen, but look at all these crazy good things that have happened in this episode. So then we get to the ending where Laurel comes into Annalise's home and she's frantic. She needs her to look over at this paperwork. And basically when they were researching the trial, they found out at first it said that his mom committed suicide, but when they dug deeper, it said homicide. And guess who our suspect was? Well, it was Wes. And then it shows him at the end. His mom's laying there covered in blood, and he's like stabbed her with something, or so they want you to believe. Now, my thoughts on this are that he did not kill his mom, although that was the most jaw-dropping scene. I don't know if it's the most jaw-dropping scene of the show because there have been many, but it definitely shocked me. Definitely couldn't have seen that coming ever. Wow. But I don't think that he killed her, but I don't know what to think at this point. I don't know if the defendant's family killed her and wanted to make him look guilty. I don't know if Annalise killed her for some reason. I'm not sure. I know we just don't have enough to come up with the right answer, or maybe we do. Maybe you do. So who do you think killed Wes's mom, and how and why? What's the motivation? I want to know down below. Plus, I would love for you to answer all my other questions because seriously, I'm trying to work with you so we can work together to see if we can figure some of this out, and we'll see how we do in the next coming episodes. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Kellie TV and being with me for this How to Get Away with Murder journey, because it's literally so much fun to share theories with you guys. I'll see you next time.